Hey, it might seem a bit early, but um, when it comes to something like Earth Day, I don't know about you, but I like to have a little time to really, you know, think about it, get ready for it.
Yeah.
So this year I found this idea and it really got me thinking. Like, what about using journal prompts, but like specifically to connect with the planet?
Interesting.
I don't know, it just kind of grabbed me.
Yeah.
And we're going to be diving into excerpts from 50 Earth Day journal prompts. It's by Clara Penrose. Have you heard of it?
Yes, I have. I've actually used some of her prompts
Oh,
before.
really?
They're really good.
Okay, so you're speaking my language already.
Eh.
Um, because when I saw 50, I have to admit, I kind of had that moment of like, whoa, where do I even start?
Right. It can feel a little overwhelming, that's for sure. But the thing is, and I think this is true for journaling in general, you don't have to do it all. You just need one that really speaks to you that you can connect with. Even just one prompt, if it gets you thinking differently or trying a new action, that's a win, right?
Totally. So it's like, it's not about the quantity of prompts. It's about finding that one that really resonates with you.
Exactly. And the act of actually journaling itself, putting pen to paper, I think that can be really powerful when we're talking about behavior change, don't you think? It's different from just, having a fleeting thought. When you write it down, it's like you're making a declaration, almost like a promise.
There's a commitment there.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're not just like, oh, that's a nice thought. You're like, no, I'm putting this out there.
See?
I love that. And what I appreciate about these prompts is they kind of go beyond, those typical Earth Day questions like, what did you do today for Earth Day? It's not
Yeah.
like, did you pick up trash or something? These prompts really make you think big picture. They
Yeah.
challenge your creativity. They even encourage you to tap into your own personal memories and values, which I think is really interesting.
Right.
What were some of those prompts, though, that really jumped out at you? Like, what really struck you as particularly interesting or different?
Hmm. The ones that really stuck with me were those that encourage you to imagine the future.
Yeah.
Like there's one that asks you to describe an eco-friendly home of the future, and another that prompts you to envision a world where a specific environmental issue has been solved. It's so interesting how the prompts can do that, right? They can kind
Yeah.
of shift your perspective.
Yeah. Because, we get caught up in the problems themselves, right?
Right.
But, shifting that focus to solutions, even if it's just in your imagination, can be really powerful. It's like, even if you can't solve it, you can at least think about it.
Right.
You're tapping into a different part of your brain. When you focus on the problems, you tend to trigger fear, maybe even a sense of helplessness. But when you envision solutions, even fantastical ones, you activate creativity, hope, even a sense of agency.
I like that.
And that's where those prompts about inventing eco-friendly gadgets and repurposing everyday items come in. It's like a playful challenge to look at the world through a lens of sustainability.
Oh, absolutely. I love those prompts. There's one that asks you to come up with a way to repurpose something you'd normally throw away. It reminds me of being a kid turning cardboard boxes into spaceships. This is like that, but with an eco-conscious twist.
Right.
And speaking of childhood, there's some really interesting prompts in here about connecting with your younger self's relationship with nature. There's one that asks you to describe your favorite childhood memory in nature, and another that prompts you to reflect on how your connection to nature has changed over time.
Those kinds of reflections can be so revealing. We often forget how formative those early experiences in nature can be and how they might still be shaping our values and choices today.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What were those pivotal moments that shaped our own environmental awareness? And how can we recreate those moments of wonder and connection for ourselves and for future generations?
And that ties into another prompt that really resonated with me. If you could leave one environmental legacy for future generations, what would it be?
That one really makes you think long term, doesn't it? It's not just about our own actions today, but about the kind of world we're leaving behind.
Yeah. What I appreciate about this blog post is that it acknowledges the potential for feeling overwhelmed. It doesn't shy away from the enormity of the challenges we face, but it also emphasizes the power of small actions.
It's kind of a balance, right? There's space for big picture thinking, but also for practical steps you can take.
Exactly. There's a quote sprinkled in there that really stuck with me. What you do makes a difference, and you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make. That, to me, perfectly captures the spirit of these prompts.
It's that idea of agency again, isn't it? We all have a role to play, and even small actions multiplied by millions of people can create a ripple effect.
It really is. Like,
Yeah.
it just brings it all back around to that idea of, like, journaling to make a change. You know what I mean?
Right. Because it's not just about writing, it's about what that writing sparks.
Yes. Like, even if you just pick one single prompt out of this whole list, I don't know, there's just something about, like, taking the time to really think about it.
Oh, absolutely. And, something that stands out to me is how, even though we think of journaling as this very solitary thing, a lot of these prompts actually encourage you to do something, like to get involved. There's that one, for example, about like doing some research on local environmental organizations. It's like it's taking you from your journal out into the world.
It's like an invitation to act,
Yeah,
Yeah. You're not just writing in your diary, you're taking action.
Exactly.
It actually reminds me of this thing I read. I think it was about how habits are formed.
Oh, yeah.
And it was saying, like, even the smallest little action, like, even if it seems insignificant, if you tie it to some kind of bigger purpose or even like a value you identify with, it can really become a lasting change. Like, it sticks with you. It's like those small choices. They become like little reminders throughout your day of, this is what matters to me. This is the difference I want to make.
It's like a visual cue, right? It brings it back to the forefront of your mind.
Yes. And those little things, I don't know, they build up. They add up to something more.
It's not about being perfect, it's just about that consistency and that awareness.
And that's what I like about this whole Earth Day journaling idea.
Yeah.
It's like a single prompt. It can kind of kickstart that whole process of self-reflection and action.
Exactly.
Well, I hope everybody listening is feeling inspired to maybe, grab a journal and just explore some of these prompts. See where it takes you.
Yeah. You might be surprised by what you discover.
You really might. And, it's Earth Day. We're talking about the planet, but really it's about all of us, right?
Yeah.
It's about our place in the world.
Absolutely.
And hey, if a few journal prompts can help with that, I'm all for it. So until next time, keep those journals handy, and we'll see you on our next deep dive.